Zach Morris.
Edward Norton?
Yeah, Say by the Bell reference. 90s version, not this shit that they got out today.
And mine's more of a Rounders reference. I don't know. For you, maybe it's Primal Fear. I
No, mine was more. What's a good movie of his? I mean, you can always go with Fight Club.
was gonna say Fight Club. It's pretty good.
Um, we talked about cereal the other day, and it got me thinking.
Well, we talked. I talked about cereal. You talked about diabetes in a bowl, but whatever.
Is cereal a soup?
I mean, yeah, I guess
Just
it's
fucked
just
up
a
your
cold.
mind,
It's a cold soup.
right? But like, what classifies a soup a soup?
That's a good question.
Is chili a soup?
No, because chili is not necessarily. Well, good chili is not necessarily like a liquid. It's more chunky.
Because like you can put chunky. You can put chili on a hot dog. You can put chili on a
Yeah,
burger.
but you're not putting soup on a hot dog.
I've never seen chicken noodle soup on a burger.
No, because I mean the liquid would all run out.
That'd be gross.
I don't think it would be gross.
Chicken noodle soup on a burger, sir.
Sounds good. Depends on what else is on the burger.
And
Look,
we're
you got
going
to
back
understand
to,
the
are
only
you a
thing.
serial killer?
No, you got to understand. You got to understand one thing about me. The only thing that's really going to stop me about eating a burger is if you put fucking blue cheese on it.
Really?
Blue cheese is an abomination. I don't know who created it, but I hate them.
And spicy ketchup. Add that to the list of shit that Zach
No,
doesn't like
okay,
on his
so
burgers.
spicy ketchup is not an abomination, on its own. What I'm saying is that the Whataburger spicy ketchup is an abomination because you tampered with a gift from God. Whataburger ketchup on its own is like it's edible by itself. You could eat
I'm
that
not,
as a vegetable.
I'm not reliving this nightmare.
You brought it up. I'm just
I
telling you
know
that
what
you're
I
wrong.
did. So like,
So is
we've
it a
always
you're talking
we've
about
had
cereal?
the we've had the debate as far as like, is a hot dog a sandwich? Is now soup or cereal a soup? Is there any other type of food products where you question its genre?
Hmm.
Like, is a taco a sandwich?
See, like well, it depends, right? We live in Texas where tacos are better than anywhere else in the world.
This is true.
And like some people, when you say taco and they live like, anywhere
Yankee
that
Land,
ain't Texas,
right?
they think of a taco like Taco Bell crunchy taco, right? But like when you think of a taco, you think of like a street taco in a corn tortilla.
Or taco madre is the green school bus,
That works too. But I'm saying, but either way, it's like a rolled up taco,
right?
right? Because that's a real taco. And so if you look at it that way, it's a wrap. It's not a sandwich.
So like, I I've been to New York. That's probably the farthest north I've ever been, and I never really looked for like a chain taco place up there. I mean, I'm sure I noticed Taco Bell up there, but you know how like California has, excuse me, In and Out Burger, and
Blah. Yeah.
yeah. I'm wondering if there is a competitive nationwide taco place.
No, the only one is Taco Bell. I mean, like Jack in the Box has tacos nationwide, but that's not the same thing.
Like Jack in the Box is strictly just for alcoholics and people who
Right.
smoke
Yeah. The
weed.
only time it is acceptable socially to eat Jack in the Box is 2:30 in the morning.
It's the drive-through Waffle House.
That's not a bad example, actually.
It's
I like that.
the perfect example.
Metaphor.
Okay,
Whatever.
now
Comparison.
let's go ahead and take all that we're transitioning into more food. Imagine that.
We're fat guys. What do you think?
So let's take a fast food restaurant that closes, say, like at 10 or whatever, but you wish was 24/7. What would it be?
None of them. All the good ones are open 24/7.
Nah, you're true. Okay, what about a restaurant that closes but you wish was open 24/7? Would you want like Olive Garden open 24/7?
No, I wouldn't give a shit.
What about like Saltgrass?
I mean, do you really want to eat like a thick ass steak at 2 o'clock in the morning?
dude, I could eat a ribeye at any time of the day,
This is true.
right? Or like
Man,
Papa's burgers or Papa's wings
dude, if
at two
Papa's
in the
was
morning.
open 24 hours a day, that would be the place. Papa's has kick-ass burgers, ribs, chicken,
If y'all
almost
don't know
everything.
about Papa's, y'all just don't know,
Dude, I'm sorry. I feel bad for people who can't eat Papa's.
bro.
Those burgers are on point. Dude, just for the viewers, Papa's automatically makes their burgers with 2 patties. Like, that's
Papa's
how
Burgers
badass they are.
is in my top 5 burgers. Like
Yeah.
that might be my 1 or 2.
It's definitely 1 or 2. Like, because I don't know where you classify it, because Whataburger is number 1 to me, right?
Well,
But that's only because I can get it all the time.
so I do my ratings as far as separation from fast food burgers and dine-in restaurant burgers.
Okay, so then there you go. So Papa's is the number 1 dine-in burger. Whataburger is the number 1 fast food burger.
Correct.
Okay. The Miller's Cafe in downtown though makes a pretty good burger.
Haven't been there yet.
And then obviously Burger Joint is always on point.
Burger joints, see, that's where it becomes a problem because like that could be my number 1. You throw that mac and cheese on that bacon burger with that bacon aioli. Woo!
No, you go to Papa's and you get just a regular cheeseburger. That goes pretty hard. Like the seasoning and the flavor and the thickness of the meat.
Giggity.
Giggity.
I feel my arteries clogging up right now as we talk about this.
Nope. I feel like my stomach is making room as we speak for a burger.
What are you sitting on the toilet while we're doing this episode?
Why do you think I have the background up? Duh.
Why haven't we been doing that?
We should do that. No, we shouldn't do that.
Toilet talk.
I'm not doing that. That's where I do all my fantasy football stuff is on the toilet, but I'm not going to do a show from there.
If somebody loses fantasy football, they need to do a podcast episode from the toilet.
That's gross. I
Actually, you know what? I would probably like doing an episode like not together because that's weird.
go to like a Target and be in like opposing stalls?
No, just a nice bubble bath. Lay in a nice bubble bath and record an episode
Full disclosure,
with some bath bombs.
Before I had a hot tub, I would get in the bathtub all the time.
I couldn't tell you the last time I'd taken a bath.
You were probably like a little kid.
Probably.
No, mine was like
yesterday,
2 years ago.
Oh,
no, like right before we got the pool. So, dude, like no shit. I would be in the bathtub, full of hot water, bath bomb, the whole 9 yards. I didn't care. Judge me. I don't care. Come at me. That shit's good.
That's all you, boo boo.
I don't care. I'm a man. I'm 40. Well, 36, but whatever.
Bro, let's get into sports.
Dude, for real. Let's talk about some real stuff, not
bubble baths and burgers.
Yeah, we're not Bert and Ernie in the bathtub.
You ready?
Let's do it.
Woo! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. I'm Ed.
I'm Zach.
And here we are again, assholes. Week 8 finished up this past Monday with a Monday night football game, which I don't even remember who played. Oh, it was the Giants and the Chiefs.
And the Giants.
And the Chiefs barely squeaked by on that one. Patrick Mahomes with, I think, 2 more interceptions added on to his resume for 2021.
Unbelievable they're playing this bad.
But I'm not wanting to talk about them. This was the week of backup quarterbacks to just come out and shine.
Yep, that's for sure.
The New York Jets going against the Colts. Or no, that's tonight. I'm sorry.
No, the Jets played Cincinnati.
The Jets played Cincinnati with
and they won, by the way, with
some guy named Mike White, who was drafted like 3 years ago by the Dallas Cowboys. He got picked up after he got cut by Dallas. He got picked up by the Jets and put on their practice squad. And because of Zach Wilson getting hurt, they jacked him up. Everybody, I guess, was assuming that Joe Flacco was going to come in and take in since they traded for him or picked him up. But Mike White came out and played like he's just been in the league starting all 3 years he's been in the league. 37 for 45, 405 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
He also caught a touchdown pass.
Dude, I watched this game yesterday. I had to see what it was, and New York was playing like they had nothing to lose. They were playing first quarter. They're running trick plays. They're throwing it out to the running back, who threw it back to Mike White, who threw it down the field, and just like all kinds of crazy shit. Um, I was pretty impressed by the game. I thought the defense did well in the first quarter. They held off Cincinnati scoreless, which I think has been unheard of this season. I could be wrong on that, but Mike White did well. He threw two interceptions in the first half, but after watching it, I don't think those were his fault. Those were more bounce off the receiver's hands to the defenders. But, it is what it is. Moving forward, we have Mike White tonight, which I jumped the gun and said they're playing the Colts. Do you think we see the same Mike White tonight?
No, and I'm not sure why we saw this Mike White. I said he caught a touchdown pass. It was two-point conversion, but whatever. Sorry. But I'm not even sure why Mike White played this well. He played the week before against the Patriots, and I don't know if you remember the score, but the Patriots had like 7 million and the Jets had like 3. So final score actually was 54-13, but that's not the point. I don't know what changed. Last week he had 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. I mean, he was only sacked once, so it's not like he was under pressure a lot. I don't know what happened. But I mean, I can't explain it. I thought Cincinnati was on the up and coming of AFC contenders,
especially after coming off a win against Baltimore.
Right. So this kind of puts me in doubt a little bit, right? I mean, they handled the Lions no problem. They demolished the Ravens. They made Lamar Jackson look pedestrian. I don't know what happened there. And it's like maybe they just maybe they're looking forward to the Browns game this coming week. They just looked right past the Jets and thought they could just show up and win.
Right.
This right here, this is why I say, and I was saying that Cincinnati is on the cusp, but they're not there yet.
Right.
I think that they are a bunch of good young pieces. They've assembled a pretty good roster, but they're still young, right? So when you're young, you're going to make mistakes like this, and I think they probably just look past this game. It's hard for me to fully understand looking past the game because it's not like they're playing like a world beater next week. They're playing the Browns. It is a division game, and so that has its own like hype and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Hats off to the Jets, man. Showed up.
I don't see Mike White having anywhere near the game he had. He's going against a Colts defense that's second in the league in takeaways, right?
Yep. The Colts are playing really well right now.
They're playing super well right now, and this is going to be the next 4 games are going to be what sets the Colts apart in the AFC South, right? Yeah, they've got the Jets today, and I think they have Jacksonville next week, but then they're followed up with Tampa Bay and Buffalo.
Okay.
Not in that order. Jets, Jags, Bills, Bucks, right? So they can either come out 2-2. That's probably the best case scenario for this team, which if they come out 1-3, 0-4, then we have some big problems, right?
Yeah.
So they have an advantage right now to go ahead and try to steal the AFC South with Derrick Henry being out in Tennessee. On top of that, Julio's constantly been hurt. A.J. Brown, he's been having little hot shots here and there. Outside of that, like, what else do the Titans really have, right? They picked up Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. Jeremy McNichols is okay. I don't know. I mean, obviously, he's not going to step in and fill the shoes of King Henry. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
Most of the fantasy people that I follow are saying that McNichols is the guy to pick up right now because he's going to immediately start and get a large volume. But people that need running back help like later on and are willing to wait, like they have players that'll play right now. They're saying to pick up Adrian Peterson and just stash him because eventually he's going to take over the lead role.
This is true.
I think once he learned, I mean, he's a veteran. We've seen what Adrian Peterson can do. We know he's fallen off a little bit, which is why he was available in the first place. but I feel like once he learns the passing blocking scheme, he's going to shine. I mean, he led the Detroit Lions last year in rushing. And I mean, it was only 604 yards, but he didn't play the whole season. So, there's a whole different dynamic there. But I think Adrian Peterson still has something left in the tank. And the Titans run a style that is conducive to what Adrian Peterson likes to do.
Right.
So, I think we won't see exactly what this team is going to look like down the stretch, but I think 3 weeks from now we might be saying that Adrian Peterson is like really helping carry the team. This is going to put a lot of pressure on Ryan Tannehill.
Yes.
Ryan Tannehill signed a big ass contract. Now he's going to have to live up to that money. So we'll see. It's up to Ryan Tannehill. He's got AJ Brown, who is a world beater. We know that. And Julio Jones, who's 2 years removed from his prime. So they got to be able to do something. Who do they play this week? They play the Rams.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough game. That's on Monday Night Football. Or no, that's on Sunday Night Football. That's going to be tough. Playing in LA. Man, we'll see who they are. The Rams are a great team. And then they just got better. They traded for Von Miller. Yep. So now Von Miller and Aaron Donald are going to be on the field at the same time.
That's scary.
I mean, Von Miller is banged up a little bit. He's a little bit older, but he was still the first 4 weeks of the season for the Broncos. He was still playing fairly well. I honestly think that the past 3 weeks they kind of told him to shut it down. I think he knew he was getting traded 3 weeks ago, and so I think he shut down because they didn't want him to get hurt. That's what I think happened.
He had a pretty shocked look on his face when I guess that was TMZ Sports or
right. Well, I think they told him he was going to get traded, right? And then when it came up to the deadline, almost the deadline day, and he hadn't been traded yet, he thought, well, shit, maybe they don't actually want to trade me for just anything. And then when it actually went through, then he was like, oh, here's all the emotion. I mean, because you know how it is when somebody tells you something, that's one thing. But when it actually happens, that's life-changing.
All right. Back to tonight's game. Do you have a prediction? Ugh, I can't talk this morning.
Well, so my spreadsheet says Indianapolis 29, the Jets 15.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what the line is. I think
they have it as 10.5.
Wow.
Right now.
That sounds like a lot, but the Colts are really good. And what's weird is they're really good defensively, which they haven't been for a long time.
Right.
So, we saw signs of it last year, right? But I'm talking about like the Peyton Manning era, right? The Andrew Luck era. They didn't really play a lot of defense. So,
true.
But I like the way Carson Wentz runs the offense. I like the way, I don't want to say he manages the game because that's not 100% true, but he doesn't necessarily take chances unless they're almost necessary. Every once in a while, he does that bonehead ass play, like throwing a left-handed interception in the end zone. He does that shit every once in a while. But for the most part, he's played pretty well. Yeah, I'm showing Indianapolis on RR Sports Betting, Indianapolis 10.5 and over under 46.
While we're on the game and while we've brought up RR Sports Betting also offers premium props. So tonight's game, they have some props up there. You want to run through some?
Yeah, I'm going to click on it right now and see what we got. What's your favorite one?
Oh, right. Let's see. Longest touchdown, over under 39.5 yards. I'm going over.
It seems like that is the number for majority of the games. I've looked at these a couple times, and from what I've noticed is that is always, it's either like 37 to 42, somewhere in that range.
Right.
You're going to go over?
I'm going to go over. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to have him probably a good breakout, get at least 40,
you think
45.
Any team is going to score 40 points?
I want to say the Colts are going to.
I don't think they will unless they score like a defensive touchdown. So I think if you're going to bet 40 plus points, it's plus 400, right? But I think if you do that, you have to put defensive or special teams touchdown scored, because I think that's the only way that's going to happen. And so if you bet on both, at least you can double dip and get, a little bit
True.
more money. Um,
They have
defensive and special teams touchdown is plus 225.
so the Jets are averaging giving up 29.4 points a game.
Yeah.
They're averaging 115.1 rushing yards against them a game. Averaging 275.3 passing yards against them a game. So
Yeah.
use that however you want to. Indianapolis's total touchdowns over under 3.5.
Okay.
Field goal one seems pretty easy.
What's the field goal?
Indianapolis total field goals over under 1.5.
Oh, it's over for sure.
Absolutely. They got that at minus 152.
Yeah. I was looking at
team to score first.
I was looking at first score of the game as a touchdown. I'm going to say no. And no is plus 126.
Ooh.
So that might be some value there.
If the Jets get the ball, absolutely no. If Colts get it, you're probably going to lose that one.
I don't know, man. I mean, first drive, defense is hyped up. Maybe the incomplete pass or a dropped pass.
Okay. Highest scoring half, first or second half?
It's got to be the second half.
You think, right?
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I mean, even the odds say that. First is minus 110, second's minus 118.
Highest scoring quarter. These are some good ones. First quarter is plus 386. Second is plus 154. Third is plus 390. And fourth is plus 182.
Damn. Man, that's crazy. What are these specials here? Any QB throws for 300 yards. I think Carson Wentz could throw for 300 yards, huh? It's plus 100. Any player to have 100 rushing yards.
Ooh, that's a toughie.
I think that's a lock for Jonathan Taylor, huh?
I think he's averaging just under that.
It's plus 100. It says any player to have 150 rushing yards is plus 300. Man, there's some cool ones on here. Longest reception for Michael Pittman Jr., 24 and a half. That's tough. That's right there.
Recent games for Jonathan Taylor, he's only had 3 games of over 100 rushing yards.
Yeah, but how many of the Jets given up? You just said that.
Oh, shit. It was like averaging 115.
What's he averaging a game, you said? 92?
Something like that.
Okay.
No, that's not right. I just looked at it. I was assuming he was. I'm probably wrong on that. I don't know, man, but RR Sports Betting has some outrageous prop bets. Great bets available for you to make.
Dude, there's all kinds of shit in here.
Absolutely.
Man,
you see, so any of them pop out to you to where you're like, okay, I'm probably going to do that?
Well, these are parlay odds less than plus 1,000. Well, that's not what I want. No, I mean, not really. They don't pop out to me. There's not really anything other than Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor will rush for 100 yards. I think that's decided.
He's averaging 81 yards a game.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just feel like he's going to rush for 100 yards. And I think if he does run for 100 yards, the game is going to be under. So, I don't know. That's where I have it. I think the final score will be Indianapolis 27, the Jets 13.
Mike White's longest completion, over under 34.5.
We're going to have to go under.
Yep.
Because I think the way that it looks, if the Colts are going to win, that means that Mike White isn't doing anything.
True.
Because, I mean, it's hard for me to say that they're not going to do anything because on my fantasy team, I have Michael Carter. And I really need him to score some points.
Well,
it's going to be tough. Anyway,
Moving on to other backup quarterbacks,
yeah.
the Dallas Cowboys
Cooper
had
Rush.
a guy named Cooper Rush come in, and just like I said with Mike White, came in and acted like he's been here for a while. He's been doing this for a while.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is just normal to throw for 300 yards in an NFL game.
24 for 40, 325, two touchdowns, one interception. I mean, shit. Now, granted, it wasn't a blowout game. It was 20-16. They finished up with Cooper throwing to Cooper for the touchdown and winning the game.
But they played the Vikings, which the Vikings we both agree are a good team. So
And I one of my favorite things watching it was seeing what's his name, Xavier Woods, former Cowboy. He picked him off once, I think, and he got a sack for a fumble. In the first or third, I don't remember, but it was he was zooming across that field. He was everywhere it seemed like, but he was trying to carry everything on his own. They couldn't get it going. But like you said, Cowboys came out ahead on that. They spread the ball around. Mari Cooper with 8 receptions, 122 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 112 yards. Even Cedric Wilson came up from the practice squad with Cooper Rush, 84 yards with 3 receptions. Oh, so if Dak is out this week, I haven't looked at any reports yet. Do you think that Cooper's going to repeat?
yeah, because they're playing the Broncos. So um pretty much if you play the Broncos and you are a halfway decent team, you're gonna take care of business. The only thing that worries me is that the Broncos defense is getting better. Of course, they just traded Von Miller, so I don't know what type of pass rush they're going to get, but the secondary is pretty good. They did put Bryce Callahan on IR, so that hurts. Um, Patrick Surtain looks pretty good in the secondary. Justin Simmons obviously is an all pro there. So that's okay. But then you have 6 or 7 linebackers on IR. You traded for a linebacker from the Rams. Um, I just don't think the Broncos have enough healthy on defense to stop Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb and even Schultz and Zeke. Like they're going to get theirs too. I think just the way that this is going to stack up, even if Dak doesn't play, which I think he will, um, even if Dak doesn't play, Cooper Rush really isn't going to get pressured. And CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper are pretty good wide receivers. Might be maybe the best duo in the league. I don't know. They're pretty. I mean, if not, they're up there. They're definitely top 5.
Right.
So, I feel like that's a good thing. But then the defense has been playing pretty well. And the last time I looked, Teddy Bridgewater is still the quarterback for the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
So I think the defense for Dallas will play well. I don't think this will be a road speed bump, roadblock, whatever I'm trying to say for the Cowboys. I think they'll get the job done. I have them favored by 7 points. So I don't know what R&R says. Or
They got it
RR
at 10.
They have it at 10. Well,
Yep.
it's a home game for the Cowboys.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably not even close. I was predicting that Drew Lock would be the quarterback for this game because Teddy Bridgewater is ineffective. I read a couple reports where the Broncos were going to try to trade Teddy Bridgewater to the New Orleans Saints because Jameis Winston's done for the year.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't end up happening. And magically, somehow, the Broncos were able to pull off a win against Washington this past week.
Well, it's
So
Washington.
Teddy Bridgewater gets a stay of execution. I actually think now, based on some things that have come out of the GM for the Broncos, is that Teddy Bridgewater will just basically be our quarterback for the remainder of the season. At the end of the season, Vic Fangio and Pat Shurmur will be gone. Teddy Bridgewater will be gone, and Drew Lock will be gone. And hopefully, we're drafting in the top of the first round, and we'll start over again with another rookie quarterback that we don't know how to draft.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. And speaking of former or quarterbacks that the Broncos have drafted in the past, Trevor Siemian came out and played for the New Orleans Saints after Jameis Winston went down to help the Saints beat the reigning Super Bowl champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 36-27. What?
If you heard it here, your boy told you to bet money line on New Orleans.
You did.
Every once in a while, Even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Um, this was an outcome I don't think a lot of people expected. Your crystal ball showed you otherwise. Trevor Simeon came in for an injured Jameis Winston, who we found out tore his ACL is out for the season, correct?
Yes, sir.
Trevor Simeon comes in 16 for 29, 159 with one touchdown and no interceptions, which is probably the first time in his career that he's never thrown an interception.
Yeah, I think he would, even if he threw 4 touchdown passes, he would throw 1 interception. There was just no way around it.
Tom Brady, still being Tom Brady, still threw for 375 yards with four touchdowns and two interceptions and still lost the game.
Yeah, I don't know what that says about Tampa Bay, other than maybe just their defense had an off day.
Yeah.
Because if Tom Brady's throwing 375, there's no way you should lose that game with the defense they've assembled. So I'm thinking they just had a bad day.
Chris Godwin was hit 8 times for 140 yards.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. I think that was third overall in the league, right?
That's very good. Yes.
I think yeah, Debo Samuel. Okay, sorry, he was fourth. Tyler Lockett beat him by 2 yards. My bad. But yeah, Debo Samuel was the number one. AJ Brown, Tyler Lockett, and Chris Godwin. So yeah, if Chris Godwin's having 140 yards receiving, like what are you doing losing that game? Tom Brady was 375 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 3 times. He fumbled 1 time.
I think the biggest takeaway that helped New Orleans Saints was they were 2 for 3 on fourth down conversions.
Yeah.
If you can't stop them on the fourth down, like you're more than likely going to lose a game, and this is a prime example of it, right?
I agree with that statement. I think that's probably why we're seeing a lot of overs hit. I think we talked about this before. The analytics changing the game, where even going for it on your own like 30-yard line, coaches are doing it now. You're seeing a lot more coaches go for 2-point conversions when the math makes sense, and so I think that's changed a lot of these scores. But really, I'm looking at the stats of this game. I don't really see where New Orleans was better, other than turning the ball over.
Well,
right? No interceptions for either quarterback, Jameis or Trevor, and I don't think there were any fumbles by the Saints at all. So
no. Tampa Bay had 3 turnovers for the game.
Right, and I think giving them a short field that really helped New Orleans.
The turnovers didn't help Tampa Bay. The not stopping fourth down conversions and penalties are what ruined Tampa Bay against the Saints this past week.
Hey, so I'm scrolling through. I have a question.
Okay.
And normally when you read stats, I don't have a problem understanding what they're talking about.
Okay.
But New Orleans Saints, it has the fumble category.
Mm-hmm.
So David Onamayata.
Sure.
He has a fumble recovery. Okay. Is that a defensive guy? Because if that's a defensive guy, that makes sense.
I think he's special teams.
Yeah, he's a defensive tackle. Okay, so never mind. I'm an idiot. I was gonna say it has. He recovered a fumble, and then Trevor Simeon fumbled and recovered it. And I was like, how do they have 2 fumble recoveries, but they only fumbled once? And it's because they don't have it broken down into offense and defense. So I'm an idiot. Never mind. But yeah, it says Tom Brady fumbled and he lost his fumble. And I guess that's David Onamayata that caught it. And then Trevor Simeon fumbled 1 time, but he recovered his own fumble. So that right there, that's probably why the Saints won. They got a bunch of short fields and they were able to score. Because do you know who the leading wide receiver was for the New Orleans Saints?
Tell me.
Kevin White. I don't know who that is. Do you just take a guess at how many receiving yards he had?
63.
38.
Wow.
They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys had 30 receiving yards.
It's nuts.
That's fucking terrible. And Deontay Harris had 7 targets. 7 targets, 3 receptions, 35 yards. His longest reception was a touchdown, or it was 14 yards.
Yeah, my faith
Smith
in
had the touchdown. That's it.
Hope of Callaway being the star stud of that team on wide receivers has horribly been wrong.
Well, I mean,
on top of that, Michael Thomas also came out and said that he won't be playing for the rest of the season. So.
Yeah, I heard that too. Like the same ankle that's been injured. Now they're saying he's got another injury on the same ankle, and now he's done for the year. So
I'm
I don't
wondering.
understand how did he get hurt?
That's a good question. I don't know if it was something from the previous season. I don't know if it happened in the off season. I didn't keep up much with him after he was starting to become a
Okay.
hissy fit last year. Um,
Yeah,
so
I'm not understanding exactly what's going on there. Maybe he just doesn't want to play in New Orleans, which I don't fully understand
he
because
doesn't want to play there. He wants out of there. And I was thinking that he may have gotten like some kind of silent trade before the deadline. But apparently nobody was wanting a broken Michael Thomas at the moment, especially if you don't know the severity of his injuries, right?
correct.
You look at the first 3 years of Michael Thomas, and he was nothing but on the uprise. In my opinion, he was going to be the next Antonio Brown when Antonio Brown was in his prime, right?
I agree.
And then 2020 comes, and everything that came with 2020, he had a downfall year, and he started throwing fits and making these demands and just showing to be a cancer within that organization
Yep.
or the start of one. And then going into the preseason this year, he was practically saying he wants off this team. No efforts were really made to try to trade him out that were shown to the public, or at least that I saw, which doesn't mean shit. But I'm wondering if after this season, if he's even going to be a New Orleans Saint anymore.
I don't think so. I think this is probably going to be the last straw with New Orleans. I think a guy who you're paying a lot of money for and a guy who could be an offense like a dynamic offensive weapon, he doesn't want to show up for your team. That's weird. So something needs to be taken care of, and I'm going to just go ahead and say he will not be a New Orleans Saint next year.
Where could you see him going?
I mean, I'm trying to think of a roster that needs him, but also a locker room that could hold him.
Detroit?
No, because in Detroit, he's going to run amok there, right? There's no leadership there. There's no one that's going to hold him accountable. And that's more of what I'm concerned with is that he needs a place that's going to force him to produce. Um I don't know where that would be because like I would say Tampa Bay, right? Because obviously Tom Brady in the locker room, he's gonna command a lot of respect. Because I mean, look what he did with Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown showed his ass, but he hasn't in Tampa Bay.
He is
But I
not a
mean,
free
I
agent
think
until
Tom Brady
2025.
he's under contract till 2025.
Yeah, he's an unrestricted free agent until 20 and in 2025.
Wow. So it's possible that he's done. It's possible that he never plays again.
Yeah, this might be the waste of great talent, and we never see him play again. He may be a washed up bum who goes and plays arena football in some podunk town.
Speaking of being done and a diva wide receiver, have you read anything about Calvin Ridley in Atlanta?
No, but homeboy, I think is out this week. Is he out for the season?
He so last week he missed. He was a healthy scratch. He sat out for personal reasons. And then he did the same thing this week about an hour and a half before the game. Atlanta announced that he would be sitting out this week while he works on his mental health.
Huh.
Um I'm not one to knock someone for wanting to work on your mental health. I think that that is something that is overlooked in today's society. Um, I mean, you know how it is. When we were kids, we were basically told if you weren't like dying, you should be on the field.
Yeah,
So
suck it up, Buttercup.
right, you know, rub some dirt on it, get to work, and then if it was my head's just not in it, well, you just need to clear your head, or you know, some people would say you just need to get some ass or whatever. Like you need to get it out of your mind. But I think as we get older and as we mature as a society, we're understanding that some people don't do well under stress, man. Like, I understand that playing in the NFL is very stressful. It's, you know, it's hard hitting, fast paced, you know, super dynamic, and you're, you know, constantly going up against the best athletes in the world for that sport. So it can be kind of, you know, disheartening if you're not winning all the time when you're used to winning like he is. So I can understand that, but um, on the same token, I feel like the only thing stressful should be his job.
Well, I mean,
right? He
fuck.
doesn't have money trouble. He doesn't have health issues. Now I don't know about his family, and it could be that that's what's going on. Somebody in his family is having an issue. It could be It could be he's having an issue that he doesn't want to talk about. Um, but I feel like when you have enough money like that, you should be able to, outside of your job, find a way to decompress. And I don't know, like I don't want to, like I'm not a psychologist. I don't want to tell him what to do. I don't want to speak for him. I don't want to do any of that. But it's it's odd to me where we watch the NFL. We know that all NFL teams want to give their players the best of the best of the best to try to make them better so they can win on the field.
Right.
And so I'm baffled in a world where that's the case. Hey, we want to make our athletes the best. How is he not getting the help that he needs? And he could be, right? The Falcons could be giving him everything that he needs, and he's just not there yet. But it's weird to me that it's come to a point that he's having to sit out football games during the season to get his mental health right. Like apparently this is something that the NFL needs to look at under a larger, like a smaller microscope, and find out what's actually causing this.
Well, let's go to imagination land, and you're an NFL player, and you take hits daily, and you're starting to have mental depression or whatever the issue may be with him, whether it be outside the field or a part of the team or whatever. And coach comes up to you and goes, "Hey, I want you to go see our team psychiatrist," right?
Yeah.
Well, anything if it's something within the organization as far as causing his problems, and now the organization is sending you to an organizational help, you're instantly, or at least for me, I'm going to think this dude's going to do nothing but try to convince me to get back on the field for what's best for the organization, right? So,
I can see that. Yeah. I mean, why would you go to a doctor paid for by the people that are making you have stress?
right.
And
Hey, doc.
they don't necessarily want the best for you. They just want you to be on the field.
Right. Hey, you're costing the organization money by not playing. Doc, tell him whatever he wants to hear just so he'll get back out on the field, right?
I'm
Now,
going to hope that we don't live in a society where that's going on.
you know that happens. That happens in corporate America.
I mean, we saw it with
Guaranteed.
Cam Newton. They rushed Cam Newton back because they wanted him to play. And
Absolutely,
now he's out of the league.
which is bonkers. But
Fucking crazy.
at this point, what's the point of even picking him up, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I hope everything's all right with Calvin Ridley. I hope he comes back soon and we get to see the Calvin Ridley that we were shocked to see last year and at the beginning of this year. Now, granted, hopefully Matt Ryan's on his way out and they can go ahead and pick up a new up-and-coming quarterback and get that franchise back to where it was. Or maybe Tom Brady's thumb on the division is just so overwhelming to where people are just like, yeah, fuck this.
It's possible. Yeah. They're just checking out.
Except for the Saints. The Saints are that dumb kid who keeps running into the wall because they think something different is going to happen. Yeah, they got a win out of it, but I mean, at the end of the season, is that going to be the deciding factor for them? I doubt it.
There's a statement here on Twitter from Calvin Ridley. He said Halloween, so 5 days ago, said these past few weeks have been very challenging, and as much as I'd like to be on the field competing with my teammates, I need to step away from football at this time and focus on my mental well-being. This will help me be the best version of myself now and in the future. I want to thank my teammates, the entire Atlanta Falcons organization, our great fans, my friends, and my family for all of their support during this time. That sounds like a lawyer wrote it, but
that also sounds like he's going to be gone for a while.
It sounds like he's probably done for the season.
Well, I mean, he's looking at an Atlanta team who's not really going anywhere, and I guess he's like, fuck it, extended vacation.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm wondering.
I feel bad for him because this tells me I think that either he's really dealing with a mental health issue, like not saying he's lying. I'm saying like he's really dealing with like depression or like suicidal thoughts or stuff like that, or he's got a lot on his plate with his family, like in the background that we don't know.
Right.
And I think we talked about this before, but the reason why I don't like to be the guy of, man, you're killing my fantasy team, or get your ass on the field. Nobody wants to hear about you bitching, right? Is because there was a point guard that got drafted in the NBA a long time ago. And I think he got drafted in the first round. It was supposed to be like, the next coming of like Steve Nash or something, like the best point guards ever, right? Chris Paul, whatever. And when he got in the league, he was only averaging like, 8 points a game and maybe 5 assists, and he didn't play all the time. And so like one of the sports writers for that team was like, this is a wasted draft pick and he's terrible and he's not playing near as well as he was in college, blah, blah, blah. Well, like years later, it came out that the reason why that guy wasn't playing well is because he was going through chemotherapy because he was battling fucking cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that sports writer obviously had no clue because the player wasn't telling anybody, right? The team knew what was going on, and that's why the team held on to him because, like they're not gonna, like they understand what their expectations are because they know the situation. But this guy, as a sports writer, completely in the dark, was bad mouthing this guy, and then didn't even find out for like 10 years. So that's why I'm hesitant to talk shit about a guy. Like, I just want him to be healthy. Like, at the end of the day, they're fucking humans. Right?
Absolutely.
They're not just these cogs in a wheel that piss off every fantasy owner every week. So good luck to Calvin Ridley. I hope he gets better. But on the flip side of that, what's going on with Odell Beckham?
Odell Beckham, that whole story right there is an interesting one, isn't it? His dad came out recently on YouTube and put out this lengthy video about how pretty much Baker doesn't throw to his son. I mean, the evidence is all out there for everybody to see, right? Like, I don't know if it's the reads that Baker's getting. Is it the double coverage? Um, I don't know what it is, but a lot of people are trying to stand up for Baker and Odell together because they've been seen together, playing golf together, hanging out, doing workouts together here and there. Like there hasn't been any signs that there's any turmoil or hatred towards the two, right?
So
But you
far,
look
yeah,
at
I'm
it,
with you. I haven't seen anything like that.
I'm Odell's only got 232 yards in 6 games, 17 receptions with 34 targets, right?
Yep.
No touchdowns. I don't think he's had a touchdown since sometime in 2020.
Well, so there have been a couple of times where he was wide open and he would have scored, but Baker made a bad throw. I have seen that, but I don't know about, how many targets he's had or how many times he's dropped the ball or anything like that. But this past week against the Steelers, they lost 10-0. Odell Beckham had 1 target for 6 yards.
That's crazy.
But I mean, really across the board, though, Jarvis Landry had 10 targets. He caught 5 of them for 65 yards. So, I mean, it's not like they're setting the world on fire with passing yards. Baker only had 225 passing yards.
Let's put it this way. Odell hasn't scored since October 4th of 2020 against the Dallas Cowboys, and he had 2 touchdowns that game for 81 yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going back and looking at his stats. So 2 weeks ago against Denver, he had 6 targets. Against Arizona, he had 8 targets. But I mean, that's kind of where he lives in the 3 to 5 range. Yeah, his best game he had 79 yards, but that was when Jarvis Landry didn't even play. So
And also remember, he's had a couple of games to where he's been he got injured or had a shoulder problem.
yeah, he has had that. It's a lingering problem. I mean, I noticed that he hurt his right shoulder and then he ran like an out route and he landed on it and he had to come out of the game for a little while. So I mean, he is dealing with injury also. But I mean, when you're his best game was the five receptions for 79 yards, had 8 targets.
Yep.
And that was a game where Jarvis Landry didn't play. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 4 receptions on 5 targets for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I don't know if it's, he's not on the field in the right moments or whatever, but I think the reason why he's not practicing is he was told that he was going to be traded before the deadline. Yeah. And I think this all started last season when he got hurt and the Browns took off offensively. Remember that? He
Yep.
wasn't on the field. He wasn't causing any problems. Baker played like a god. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb were running all over the place. Jarvis Landry was blowing up. The tight end was blowing up. And, it's like they didn't even miss him. And I think listening to the news media saying that maybe Odell Beckham was the reason why this offense couldn't get started, I think it fucked with his head. And so maybe that's why he wants out. I don't know. Like, to me, you're on a team that has a really good offense and a halfway decent defense, and the team is 3-3. I mean, you're not that far away from the playoffs. So, well, I'm sorry, they were 3-3 at this point. They're 4-4 now, I think. So, I mean, you're not that far out of the playoffs. You're in fourth in your division. That's true. But I mean, I don't know. I don't understand why he wants out. I
Well,
don't get it.
I think I know why he wants out,
Okay.
and the reasoning is it's Baker. Baker is the problem of this offense.
Okay.
Everybody was expecting him to be that third wheel of 2018 drafts that come in and gets the big contract this year. He looked sharp last year, took them to the playoffs. They had a good run, doing great. This year, we're not seeing the same Baker. Now, granted, he's had some injuries that come in, but he's making a lot of mistakes, right?
Yeah.
He's only had 3 interceptions, which isn't bad for him. He's been sacked 22 times. I'm not sure where that ranks him among other quarterbacks in the league. He's he's behind one of the best O lines there is, but yet he's making bonehead decisions when it comes to where am I going to throw it. Now, does this come down to him doing this, or does it come down to bad coaching? I think it comes down to Baker. Baker's a 4-year vet now who knows this offense in and out, right? He knows these receivers in and out. He has relationships with them. He's just not doing the right throws at the right time, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm looking
he's
at his stats. He's thrown for just under 1,700 yards, which puts him 25th overall in the league. That's just behind Trevor Lawrence. So that kind of gives you an idea of their passing offense. But you have to remember on the flip side, they had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt up until 2 weeks ago, and they were running all over everybody. So he didn't have to throw it that much.
right.
It could be some growing pains that now having to transition their identity from running the football to passing the football, but he's just not playing well. And I don't know why. I mean, he averages 8.3 yards per attempt, which is pretty good, but he averages sorry, I'm going through the rankings here to try to find where he's at game wise. This is stupid. Where'd he go? I don't know. His stats don't look like there he is. Baker Mayfield averages 242 yards a game, which is like 22nd or 24th. So not very good. He has wow. He's not leading the league in interceptions. Somebody else is.
Uh, what's his name? Uh, no, no, it's not Trevor. It's not Davis Mill.
Baker has 3 interceptions.
Oh yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes has 10 interceptions and he's leading. Freaking terrible. Baker Mayfield has been sacked 22 times, which is it's tied for 3rd in the league.
Now I know I'm gonna get heat on it because people are probably like, "What the fuck? You don't know what you're talking about, this and that." No, I do. Look at what this offense has. Right, again, one of the best O lines in the league right now. Great running game. Great wide receivers. Right,
Yep.
you put Jarvis Landry or Odell Beckham on any other team, they instantly get better.
Yep. I mean,
For
hell,
what this
both of those guys could be number ones for some defense or some offenses.
for what this team has, he should be striving, or he should be so much better.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. He's 15th in completion percentage. You know who's above him? Davis Mills. Davis
He's
Mills is sitting at 13, and he only has one good receiver
for quarterback rating.
for completion percentage.
No, I'm saying I'm about to tell you for
Oh,
quarterback
okay.
rating, Baker Mayfield is 27th in the league. He's only better than Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and Ben Roethlisberger.
So he's better than a broke dick in rookies.
Basically, yeah. Well, I mean, two broke dicks because
Right.
Jared Goff's in there too.
So you mean to tell me that this is a quarterback who everybody is saying deserves Lamar Jackson contract, Josh Allen contract, Patrick Mahomes contract, but yet this is
he's,
where he's at?
he's not getting it done on the field, and that's a problem. And so, okay, then that answers the question: why does Odell want out? Because they love this guy, and he's not very good.
I'm going to say it, and I know Browns fans hate it, but you should be used to it by now. Get another quarterback.
No, this doesn't phase them at all. They're just thinking, damn, we had one for 5 years. Now what? 4 years, whatever.
I and honestly, I don't know where you would send Baker because if you think about any other team, he's probably going to be a backup quarterback for him, with the exception of Houston.
He would
And
start
maybe,
in Houston, obviously.
well, fucking a chimp would start for Houston right now. Um,
I mean, the only team that I can think of that plays a similar style to the Browns would be the Tennessee Titans, and they seem to have a guy. So
right. So I don't know. Who are the Browns playing this week? I got all fired up. Didn't even look at that.
oh shit. I had it pulled up and I forgot. Hold on.
I'm looking right now.
Cleveland's
Browns are
playing.
playing the Bengals.
Oh yeah, they're playing Cincinnati, so it's a divisional game.
Master Joe Burrow is going to just
Jose Burro.
he's coming out pissed off this game. They lost to the fucking Jets.
Yep.
They're coming out hot and ready like a Little Caesars pizza.
I think Cincinnati is going to run the ball all over Cleveland. That's what I think. I think Joe Mixon has a big game.
Let's hope so.
We'll
Real
see
quick,
what happens.
I want to touch on two things. The world's going crazy right now because Aaron Rodgers tested positive for COVID, and
Yeah, I heard all
I
that.
could care less. Like what this was on national news stations. Aaron Rodgers got COVID. Said his doctor gave him some antibodies that boosted him up at the beginning of the season, but because he didn't get the shot, he's out for 10 days. Tell me all the other players that got this too. Oh, we're not talking about them because they're not Aaron Rodgers. But it is what it is. Now Jordan Love gets to come out and show whether or not he was a good pick, right? First
Right.
NFL regular season start. Going against the Kansas City Chiefs. If he comes out and throws 3 touchdowns, no interception, and wins the game, I think next year is a solid go with Jordan Love kind of deal, right? And let Aaron Rodgers walk. Now, if he comes out and shits the bed and throws 3 interceptions and they lose horrifically, then you know what? They're probably going to draft another quarterback.
Yeah, so Aaron Rodgers is gone at the end of the season regardless.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a prove it game for Jordan Love. If Jordan Love can come out and be halfway decent, I think they'll be satisfied with that and they won't draft another quarterback. But yeah, if he comes out, knowing that he's been out or that Aaron Rodgers has been out all week, so Jordan Love's getting all the number 1 snaps, all that stuff. If he comes out and shits the bed, as you like to say, then there is no reason why the Packers shouldn't be drafting a quarterback in the first round. The problem is you'll probably be drafting number 31 or 32 in the draft. So that's going to suck. There's not going to be anybody available there that you don't have to reach for. We have seen them move up to trade, to draft higher, to draft a quarterback. But I don't know. I don't know who's going to let the Packers move up. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, looking forward to see how Jordan Love does this week. They are playing. God, I'm so prepared today.
They're playing Kansas City. You just said that.
Oh, yeah. Duh. So, looking forward to see how that happens. In other news, Henry Ruggs III played real-life GTA and drove a car 156 miles an hour and crashed into somebody else, which killed a woman. He is no longer employed by the NFL, the Las Vegas Raiders. He's sitting in a county jail cell right now.
That's where he should be. Fucking idiot.
This is another one of those moments to where you think you're untouchable because you're an NFL star and you can do whatever you want. Well, apparently you can't. So all you NFL players who are listening to us, hey, chill out, dude.
Freaking moron.
Let's switch, man.
Uh,
I didn't mean to end the NFL session on a depressing moment, but I know you got some basketball for
I
us.
mean, it's okay. I wanted to look one more time because oh yeah, so that's what happened. I heard when you said it differently than the way I heard it. So he killed the passenger in his car. The passenger was his girlfriend, right?
Did not know that.
Mm, oh no, I'm sorry. You're right. Um, he slammed in. He was driving 156 miles an hour in his Corvette, slammed into a Toyota Rav4. You think 156 miles an hour? Man, he must have been driving on the highway. Nope, regular street like a moron.
In Vegas.
Yeah, slammed into a Toyota Rav4. That Rav4 immediately burst into flames, and that girl burned to death in her car.
Yeah. Sad to say, I saw the video on TikTok today.
It says that the first charge carries a penalty of 2 to 20 years, and reckless driving is up to 6 additional years. I hope that he gets all of it. That girl is not like her family has lost her for the rest of her life because he's a moron.
Yeah.
So I hope he's in jail till he's 70.
And he's going to get charged for the DUI, too.
Oh my God. What an idiot.
Fucking moron, dude.
Yep. And this is because these people think that they're untouchable. And like, I want to say these people. It's not all of them. Not all of them act like this. But when you're a player in the NFL and you make that kind of money, why are you even driving? Like, if you've had even a dropped drink, why are you driving? Like, I don't make anywhere near their money, and if I have any type of alcohol where I think that I'm going to be a danger, I'm going to call an Uber,
Yeah.
right?
We
Like,
live
how
in an
much is
era
it?
now to where you can get anything from your phone.
Right. Well, my thing is like, how expensive? Even the most expensive Uber, like if I got one from downtown to my house, even if it's $50, it's worth it.
Right.
And like this dude, $50 to him is like
Toilet paper.
right. So what are we talking about here? This is just being irresponsible and being stupid. And you're right. I don't want to end the NFL on that. So I'm going to say, what's the game you're looking forward to the most in the NFL?
Oh, my game for the week is going to be the Houston Texans and Miami Dolphins. This is the lowest spread that the Texans has had against them all season long
Okay.
at 6.5. No, I'm kidding. I could give two shits less about that game.
Okay. Thank God. I was gonna fake like I was into it, but
You were doing well. You were doing really well.
there's only two games that I'm interested in, and one is for a betting perspective, and the other is because it should be a good game. I want to see a couple things. But so the first one is the Las Vegas Raiders are traveling to New York to play the G-Men.
Wow.
For a betting perspective, I'm going to take the Giants money line on this game. I
Really?
think I think Danny Dimes, as you like to call him,
You
is
said it.
I think he's going to show up in this game. They're starting to get healthy. I don't know about Saquon's availability.
Saquon's out with COVID.
Oh God, that's right. He got out. He was going to come back this week, but now he's out with COVID. So, but regardless, I think Devontae Booker has been pretty good there, and so I think the Giants win this game. My spreadsheet has it 26-22, so I'm going to say 24-20 Giants.
So I'm going to go against that because of the fact I'm looking at the injury report right now. Sterling Shepard is doubtful. Kadarius Toney is questionable. Saquon's out. Xavier McKinney's out. Caden Smith is out or questionable, and nobody on the Raiders are on the injury report. Not even
Except
questionable.
for John Gruden's no longer there, right?
Or Henry Ruggs.
So there we go.
And there we go. I'm going to go with Raiders on that one because I still have them as a favorite for the division. I still think they're going to win the division. They're going to walk over the Giants super easily. I'm really interested in the Packer game. I want to see how Jordan Love does because this could be the future of the Packers.
I just don't care about that game at all.
Well, I'm also kind of enjoying watching Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs kind of like come
Struggle.
back down to earth with the rest of everybody else. Their fans are still up here. They are slowly. You know what? I'm going to make a power ranking for most annoying fan base, and you're probably going to start seeing the Kansas City Chief fans ticking up there towards the top.
Okay.
But no, I'm very interested to see how this game goes. I really want to see how Jordan Love is going to do. Um, we already gave our opinion on Mike White. If Cooper Rush comes back out, we already seen what he does with that Dallas offense. So as far as backup quarterbacks, I'm looking at that one.
I'm trying
Um,
to find a line for Arizona San Francisco. That's the other game that I'm interested in.
-1
I don't know how I'm not seeing that, but okay.
Arizona.
Um, I think Arizona should be favored in this game, but San Francisco played a hell of a game last week. Jimmy Garoppolo stepped up. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. So I'm interested to see that because Arizona obviously needs to bounce back from their loss to Green Bay. So, man, I don't know. We'll see. I think that should be a tough game. It's a division rivalry. I think it's going to hit the under, so we'll see what happens. But that's
So
the only other game I'm interested in. But yeah, you're right. We need to transition to some NBA talk.
let's do it. Tell me what you got.
Well, so I did some figuring, did some looking, did some highlight watching, and I revamped my top 10 ratings or my top 10 power rankings for the NBA.
Okay,
Um I have a new number 1. So, let's just start at the bottom, I guess, right? Number 10.
let's do it.
Number 10 is a newcomer. I have the Grizzlies at number 10. I didn't
Okay.
have them in the top 10 last week. And then at number 9, I have the Raptors at number 9. They weren't in the rankings last week. Um, the Raptors look really good. They are missing a couple players. Scotty Barnes, obviously the number 1 scoring rookie in the league, and Siakam, which is probably maybe their best player. He didn't play, and they were still able to win 109-100. So Freddie Van Fleet is pretty silky smooth, and I like the team that they've assembled. So I'm going to move them into the top 10 there. Obviously, you like the Grizzlies because your boy Morant, he's
You.
pretty good. Um, he didn't have a good game last night, but they were still able to pull off the win against the Nuggets. But they beat Jokic, so I mean, I'm good with that. That's a pretty good play. And then actually the MVP from last year, he had the ball at the free throw line to take a jump shot to tie the game, and the defense stopped him. So pretty tough, gutsy win for the Grizzlies over the Nuggets, and so that puts them at number 10 for me. Number 8, I have the Bulls. Number 7 is the Bucks. They fell all the way down from 3. No, I had them at 2 last week. They fell from 2 to 7. They're just not playing well. Not to say they can't get it together by the end of the season and start winning, but they're 4-4 now. They're not playing up to their potential, so I dropped them down a little bit. Plus the other teams around them are just playing better. So the 76ers I have at 5, or no, I'm sorry, at 6. I have the Heat at 5. The Heat are on
Wow.
fire. The Heat are 6-1. They're playing so well together. It's weird that they didn't have to have a lot of time to gel because there's a lot of new pieces on that roster. But I got the Heat at 5.
You've
I have
got
the
them at 5.
Jazz.
I'm very curious to know who you have at 1.
The Jazz are at 4. So yeah, I moved the Suns and I moved the Clippers out. The Suns, they might get it together. They look old right now. Chris Paul has games where he's great, games where he's not as good. I don't know. They're too iffy, and the Clippers just don't play defense. The Clippers, they won last night, but they gave up 116 points. I'm just not sold on them defensively. I don't think that they're going to be able to stop these big name teams. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's too early to count them out, but I'm not there. So I have the Jazz at 4. I have the Nets at 3. And the reason why I have the Nets at 3 is because they won last night, but they played. Sorry, I'm trying to
Atlanta.
go through my notebook here. They played the Hawks, which the Hawks are a good team. They're up and coming. They just don't have enough pieces. But it was kind of a closer game than you would expect because the Nets made 22 3-pointers. So I kind of feel like if you're making 66 points off threes, you should blow out almost anybody. And the Hawks were able to kind of hang with them a little bit. Um, Trey Young was 21, had 21 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. So I mean, obviously he's playing, uh, he's playing at a high level, but he's not shooting at a high level. He only shot 27% from the field, and I think the only reason why that game is close is because DeAndre Hunter had 26 points. He was 6 of 6 from 3-point land, and I just don't think that you're going to expect that from him every night. Before last night, he was only averaging 10 points a game, so that's kind of an anomaly. Maybe that's where Trey Young's assists were coming from, like you said earlier.
Mm.
So I think that's what's going on there. So that's why I haven't moved the Hawks into the top 10 yet. They're just not. They're not a good enough team. They're going to make the playoffs. They might win their first round matchup, but they're just not contending for a title yet. Um, but the Nets are Kevin Durant, 32 points, 7 rebounds, five assists, shot 65% from the floor. He's the best basketball player in the NBA. It's not even close. And James Harden had a poor shooting night. I think in the beginning of the game, he was jacking up a lot of shots and they weren't falling. He was 5 of 14 from the field, 36%, but he did have 16 points and 11 assists. And I think going forward, as he learns his role of being a facilitator and only shooting open jump shots, I think that's going to make that team go farther. And so that's why I have the Nets at 3. I have the Lakers falling from number 1 to number 2. And I have the Warriors this week at number 1.
You got the Lakers at number 2?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, you can't tell me that when you have a big three, if you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on your team, you're a force. There's no way that you can't have them at the top. I mean, and you got to remember, this isn't like rankings right now. This is rankings right now of if the playoffs started, could they win a championship? And the Lakers 100% could do that. So number 1 is your Golden State Warriors. They moved up because Klay Thompson isn't even playing yet, and they're winning games where Steph Curry only scored 15 points.
Right.
I mean, yeah, he had 9 rebounds and 8 assists. Like, he played a really good game, but if he's not having to drop 40 and you're winning easily, that team's dangerous, man.
So my argument with you on the Lakers is that, yeah, with those people, with that amount of talent on that team, you should be dominating teams. They're averaging a differential under 1 point.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. I understand that there are flaws with this team. I mean, anytime you add a player that is like Russell Westbrook,
They added a whole fucking army on their team.
Well, right. I mean, Carmelo obviously too, but I'm just saying when you add a player like Russell Westbrook who is used to everything goes through him, it makes sense that the rest of the team has to kind of step back and learn their role and kind of gel. And obviously LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they know what to do. They know what's expected of them. I think they honestly need to change the lineup. I mean, Russell Westbrook should start, obviously, like that's a given. That's not a thing that I'm talking about. But I think as the game progresses, you need to, for spurts, take Anthony Davis and LeBron James off the floor to give them a break, but let Russell Westbrook take over for 2 or 3 minutes. Let him play by himself with a couple role players and let him get that feel where he's the dominant player again. So that way he gets more in rhythm. And then when those guys step on the court, he understands, hey, yeah, if I can get my shot, it's there. But if I'm getting double teamed or guys are moving in, I got 2 guys that are Hall of Fame players that can take the rock. And that way he feels more comfortable. He's already getting his for a couple minutes. He feels more comfortable dishing the ball off. I think once they learn that rhythm, they're going to be almost unstoppable. But
they need to be a team with the years of experience and NBA smarts that are on that court. I'm not even talking about coaching,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
on that
I think the
court.
coach is secondary on this team.
They should be able to identify a team and know where their weakness is because they have somebody to fill a strength where a team is weak on, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And so, how is it every night that they don't come up and go, okay, well, against their centers, they've been giving up X amount of points in the paint, blah, 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 or this team is known for just leaving wide open gaps for threes. Let's drain threes all day. Like, how are they not adjusting to this? And how I'm very surprised that this team is not having like an average of 16-point differentials or looking like what Miami is looking like right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, well,
And yes,
because
there's still a lot of season left to go with all of this,
right.
but like you need to be running right now
See,
and showing that you can't
I
be fucked
I
with.
disagree with that 100% only because of what you said right before you started that. These guys have more NBA experience than almost any other team.
True.
So I think they fully understand that they can take the time for the first month of the season and feel out what feels right for the team and learn, like they can stay right around 500 and then they can learn how to dominate what they like, how to put themselves in the proper position to have everyone excel, right? Because do you think that if they are 500, like we're in November, you think
Mhm.
they're if they're around 500 in January, you think they can't flip the switch and still be like the number 3 or number 4 seed in the West?
So take last year for example. Now, granted, it was 2020, but also take they went in leading by the All Star break,
Okay.
or they didn't even have or did they have All Star? Yeah, they were leading. They were number one in the division, and then as getting closer towards playoff times, they were falling. They fell all the way to where they had to go into that new playoff system. I can't even think of it right now, and they were 1-2 game away from being eliminated from going into the playoffs, going from a number one seed down to I want to say like a 6 seed,
Right.
right? Instead of keeping their foot on the neck, they eased up, right? Now maybe they're doing like you're saying, they're doing the reverse part of it this season, right? They're coming off slow and then they're going to just slam the hammer down come into the second half of the season. Um
Yeah, I feel like they're going to learn how to play with each other, like how to play together as a team, and then they're gonna put the hammer down and realize, all right, we figured it out. We know this is what works best for Russ. This is what works best for LeBron. This is what works best for AD, and then they're just going to put it all together. And I think that's where the coach comes in. Right now, LeBron James is leading the team. That's the
right.
coach, and they're using this time to feel each other out. And as soon as that happens, the coach is going to he's going to be able to sit back, be objective, see what's going on, and realize, okay, I need to take LeBron out at this time. I need to take AD out at this time. I need to put Russell Westbrook back in at this time. And that way, he knows all the timing. And so by the time playoff comes, they've got it figured out. Because
Right.
last year, like you said, they started out as gangbusters, beating everybody, playing hard, playing all these minutes. And then at the end, I think they just ran out of gas. And I
True.
think LeBron knows now he's older. He can't be playing all those minutes like he's used to. And I think that's why he realized he needed a Carmelo Anthony. He needed a Russell Westbrook. He needs a superstar that when he comes off the floor and he's on the bench, he doesn't have to worry about the other team having a plus 17 differential when he's off the floor.
True. Well, there are teams that they need to be keeping eye on. Granted, early on season, they're fourth in the Western Conference. They've always got to watch out for the Clippers. You've always got to watch out for Portland Trailblazers. The
That's a
Suns,
team that's disappointing is the Trailblazers. They haven't
eh,
put it together right now.
they'll get there. They'll get there.
I
I
mean,
feel
it's
like
early, right? We're only talking about 10 games for the most part. So
right.
10 games, we're not even halfway through the season. We're not even a quarter of the way through the season. So this is still early. And I
It's
agree.
fun to criticize them now though because
Yeah.
if it continues to do this, then it's a fucking problem, right?
Yeah.
Um, I like that, man. Tonight we have some good games going, but the number one game that I think the world is probably gonna be watching is Boston and Miami.
I agree with that. That's the game that I'm interested in. I want to see where Miami is. Now, Boston is probably not that great a measuring stick. Jalen Brown and hold on, I lost where I was.
Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I was looking for the spread, but anyway, so yeah, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, they're great players, but Marcus Smart, obviously, it's been in the news. He came out and criticized them for basically not passing the ball, and all the analysts are saying, "Oh yeah, if Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum they don't want to pass the ball, they can score 25, 28 points a game, but their team's going to lose by 20 because they're going to be the only people touching the ball." And the role players, they know, hey, if they pass me the ball, this is probably the only opportunity I'm going to get to score. So I'm going to jack up a shot and see what happens.
Right.
And Marcus Smart came out and told them, look, guys, you got to get everybody involved. You got to get those guys early touches so that they feel comfortable later on. There's no reason why players like those players of their caliber are not getting assists. They're not passing to the open man. They're trying to jack up contested shots. And I mean, most of the analysts are saying, look, we've been telling these guys for 2 years that's what they need to do, and they're just not listening.
Well,
Last night they actually did it. They passed the ball, they played well. Yeah, what's his name? Jalen Brown had 28 points, but they looked like a better team. They didn't play anybody. They played the Orlando Magic, which, those guys are really young, inexperienced, but it's a perfect opportunity to try passing the ball, to try out a new system and still, not lose any places in the standings because you're still going to win the game. So it looked good for one night. I want to see what it looks like against a Miami Heat team that's 3-0 at home and they're 6-1 total. They're playing in Miami tonight. I want to see what this looks like. I want to see if the Boston Celtics have changed it up for real or if the Miami Heat are just too good a team and it's not even going to matter.
well, I was thinking that Marcus Smart was crying because of the fact that he wasn't getting the points that he normally gets. But looking at previous seasons, he's practically on track to what he does every year. So I don't, I don't know if Boston's winning from whatever they're doing. Let them keep riding. Now, granted, they're 3-5, so they haven't been winning that much.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They need to do something because, like they're saying, if those guys get off and they get their points, nobody's going to care because
True.
they know that those two guys aren't going to beat us alone.
I don't know. I've got Miami winning this game. They are too damn good.
Yeah, Miami is -6. That's the line. So yeah, I think Miami's going to win. I think it's going to be close early. I think in the third quarter we'll see the Heat start to separate. In the fourth quarter they'll close it out. What
Let's
about
see.
Jazz Hawks? Are you interested in that game?
I am a little bit just because I like watching Trey Young. I think he's
He's a
interesting on the
great
court.
player.
I've actually got last game. I've got Miami winning 122 to 105. The over under set at 215. I've got the over on that.
Okay.
Atlanta and Utah. I think I'm wrong on this one, but I've got Atlanta at 108 to 103. Over under is 220, and I've got the under on that one. I think that's probably a solid bet right there. Take
The
under on
line,
that one.
according to Vegas, is Utah -1.5.
Yes.
So that I think that'll be a good game. I think both teams are very good. They're young. Donovan Mitchell is a hell of a player. He's averaging almost 25 points a game. Trey Young, obviously, we've seen his talent, but he's averaging almost 23 points a game, 22 and a half. And he averages 9.5 assists a game. So I don't know, man. I think that's going to be a very good game. I think the under is correct. I think that you're right on that. I don't know if Utah. I mean, I don't know if the Hawks are good enough to step up and beat Utah right now.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's early in the season. It's not like it's a playoff series. If it was a playoff series, I would pick the Jazz to win in 5. That's kind of how I feel.
Well, and let's see. Phoenix and Houston. Houston traveling to Phoenix. They've got Phoenix as a 10.5 favorite. I'd probably take Phoenix at 10.5. Even though
I want to see what the Rockets can do. I mean, they just had that crazy game where they lost to the Lakers by 2 points.
right.
But they're on the road. They're 0-4 on the road right now. They're only 1-6 as it is. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a long road ahead. Once the Rockets started cleaning house and getting rid of all the players, it's gonna be a tough road to hoe there. Uh, I think the Suns get this done, kind of get back on track.
Suns are averaging 105 points at home while giving up 103 points at home, whereas the Rockets are averaging 104 away and giving up 114 away. So
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for the Rockets to win this game. Um, but I
a
like
lot
what
of
they're
growing
doing.
pains.
That's what it is. They're gonna be like the Astros were, in 2012, 13, 14. They're losing 100 games. The Rockets are going to be losing 50, 55 games this year. You're just going to have to get used to it. And they're probably going to lose 40 or 45 next year. So
Yeah,
just be ready.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
I'll post my power rankings for the NBA on Twitter, so you'll see it out there.
I love it.
You got any hockey bets?
I'm looking at them today. Not too happy with some of the games that are out there right now. You got Detroit and Boston playing each other, Tampa Bay and Toronto, Islanders and Montreal, Vegas, Ottawa, Washington, Florida. Washington, Florida, I think is going to be a good game just to watch all around. But Florida is just nasty right now. They are just as disgusting. But Carolina is absolutely number one. Um, Looking at it, I'm not seeing anything that just because I like to look at if any of the underdogs are going to pop out, but I'm not seeing anybody today. Maybe Detroit over Boston because Boston's been hit or miss this season so far. Um, Dallas and Calgary. Calgary's going to take that one. Buffalo and Seattle. Seattle has been crazy. First year team, and they've been surprising people with wins here and there. That might be a game to watch out for tonight. But I'm going to crunch a little bit, a few more numbers before the games come on tonight. And if anything piques interest, I'll throw them up there. I know I've been on the hiatus lately, not posting my picks, but family duties and life come at you.
Life gets
So.
in the way, man.
But yeah, man. Looking forward to more hockey, more basketball bets. I posted some basketball bets last night and went 50% on it, so about broke even.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Who is going to be the last unbeaten team? Right now, Florida is 8-0, Carolina is 9-0.
Oh, I think Carolina. Carolina is just
Well,
super
so
strong right now.
it says that Florida is 8-0, but then they have a losing streak of one. How's that possible?
Right. They lost in overtime.
Oh, so why doesn't that count as a loss? It says overtime
They
loss. Why? What is that?
they just count overtime loss as a separate
Well,
line.
is it
It's
because they lost by shootout or no?
no, they just went into extra periods and lost.
Well, it says shootout law. So if you
Yes.
lose in an extra period, that still counts as a loss.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so then never mind. So Carolina
It's
is the only undefeated team. How many games do you think they win until they lose? I'm looking at their
I
schedule.
Well, I mean, they've played the Blackhawks twice, who suck. Arizona sucks. Boston is meh.
They play the
Maple,
Panthers tonight, actually. No, they
they
play the
do.
Panthers on the 6th. I'm sorry.
That's Saturday.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good game. And you look at the scores too, outside of Nashville and
Good God.
Arizona, and I guess the last game with Chicago, they've been blowing teams out.
Yeah, they're 6-3 against the Blackhawks, 4-1 against the Maple Leafs, 3-0 against the Bruins, 5-1 against the Blue Jackets, 4-1 against the Canadians. Gee, six to
They're
three
only
against the Islanders.
they're averaging 1.5 points given up. Other than that, they're averaging 4 points a game. Like anytime you see Carolina playing, you can almost bet the over, and you're almost guaranteed to win.
So would it make more sense to just bet Carolina over like by themselves?
Yeah,
You could probably just do that and fade it. Like
yeah,
that way you're always just betting on them to score. You're not relying on the other team to get goals.
pretty much.
Because I mean, if they're only giving up an average of 1.5 points a game, then they're not really getting scored on very often.
No.
Okay, cool.
Looking at
I'm just
everything right now, the next closest team for goals given up,
mhm.
Florida at 2. And they're sitting tied with them at averaging 4 points a game as well. So
Wow. Yeah, I'm going through here, and it's like every other team is like 6-1. Edmonton's 8-1. That's pretty good.
Edmonton, we've got to watch out on. They're being super quiet right now. A lot of people have just been like meh about them, but I'm watching them right now. They're doing actually pretty well. So I think they play tomorrow night
Okay.
against the Rangers, which I've already got Edmonton winning that game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the goal scored differential. Edmonton's at plus 16.
Yeah.
The only teams better than them are Florida and Carolina, and we know how good those teams are. So,
Edmonton's actually leading in goals for them at 4.33 a game.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. Four
Yes.
goals a game in hockey is insane. Damn.
Yep.
Cool.
So
Well, so if you're following Ed on his hockey picks, he's going to put some up on the Tiki Talk. I think that's usually
TikTok,
where it's,
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, your mom's house, the bathroom stall, anywhere that people
is the
will.
bathroom stall a dry erase marker, or you just keep doing the same shit?
Well, I keep putting a board up there that I get from Five Below, but every time I walk in there, it's either missing or covered in shit. So I
So,
just have to put a new one up. Do it
so
for you, the fans.
we have 1,513 followers on the Tiki Talk.
The Tiki Talk. We got to put some more content out.
Oh yeah, for sure. We need to put some more stuff up there. The last one, uh, man, the last one was a while ago. Sports moment. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway,
Well, the next time you're at the petting zoo and you're trying to finger bang a goat or something, and somebody catches you, tell them about Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports.
yeah. I feel like the next time that you're in the women's shoe section looking for size 16 pumps, make sure you have your phone blaring Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports, so that way they know that you're just weird and not completely crazy.
I'm always pissed off when they don't have my size.
Dude, for real. Like, and they always have them in like purple. Who the fuck wears purple? Weirdos.
Guys, this has been another episode of Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. You know where we're at. We're on all things social media. I'm Ed.
I'm Zach.
See you later, masturbators.
Always the fucking goat.